In April 2023, the Tom Ford brand sold for $2.8 billion. Its founder did not just cash out, he surrendered all creative control, approvals, and oversight. Estée Lauder took beauty and fragrance, Zegna acquired fashion, and Tom Ford himself disappeared from his own label overnight. The logo survives, the stores light up, yet the originator is gone. Can a luxury empire built entirely on one man's vision remain itself when the author vanishes? Or is this the moment the name Tom Ford became just an asset? A luxury brand rarely changes hands so abruptly or so completely. In April 2023, Tom Ford's name became a $2.8 billion transaction, split between two industry giants. Beauty, fragrance, and cosmetics moved under Estée Lauder's control, and fashion and accessories were licensed to Ermenegildo Zegna. The deal was not just about money, it was about authorship. Tom Ford, the man who built the brand from scratch, surrendered every last approval. Overnight, he stepped away from casting, campaigns, and the final word on design. For the first time since 2005, collections would go forward with no input from the founder. The sale was confirmed in public filings, and the numbers were hard to ignore. Ford's personal gain approached $1.1 billion, but the real price was creative autonomy. The man whose taste had defined every detail, down to the cut of a lapel or the mood of an ad, vanished from the process. The logo remained, but the author was gone. This was not a gradual transition or a ceremonial handoff. It was a full break executed at the peak of the brand's value, leaving the industry to wonder what exactly had just been sold. What does it mean for a brand to lose its author, yet keep its name? Can a label built on one person's taste, instincts, and image truly survive when the person is gone? Luxury fashion is full of stories where founders step aside. Sometimes the brand thrives, sometimes it drifts, sometimes it disappears into the machinery of corporate ownership. Tom Ford's exit raises a question with no easy answer. Does the spirit of a brand outlast its creator, or does it fade the moment control passes to someone else? The logo still glimmers in store windows, the runways still fill with models, and the campaigns still sell a fantasy. But who decides what that fantasy is now? If you enjoy deep dives into the business and psychology behind luxury brands, remember to like and subscribe. As the story unfolds, consider what's really at stake, not just for Tom Ford, but for every brand that has ever traded legacy for a payout. Is it possible to sell your name and keep your soul? Or is authorship the one thing that can never be handed over, no matter the price? Was Tom Ford smart to walk away at the top, or did selling his name quietly end the very thing that made it powerful? Tell us your view in the comments. Did Tom Ford lose its soul when its creator left, or is this simply what luxury looks like after the designer exits and the machine keeps running? Step inside the flagship at 845 Madison Avenue, and the intent behind Tom Ford's world becomes unmistakable. Black lacquered walls, gold accents, and smoked glass don't just decorate the space. They declare a code. Every surface, every light fixture, every inch of the boutique was chosen to project a particular kind of power. Ford's background in architecture sharpened his eye for proportion and detail, translating into stores that felt more like private clubs than retail spaces. The palette, always black, gold, and white, became his shorthand for luxury, echoed in packaging, campaigns, and even the invitations to his private shows. Advertising followed the same logic. Campaigns shot by Mario Testino or Stephen Klein were tightly controlled, favoring dramatic shadows, gleaming skin, and an atmosphere that hovered between seduction and confrontation. The clothes themselves, razor-sharp suits and perfectly tailored evening gowns, were photographed with a precision that left nothing to chance. Ford's insistence on immaculate tailoring turned a simple lapel or trouser crease into a signature. These weren't just garments, they were statements designed to telegraph confidence and control. Packaging, too, carried the same discipline. Tom Ford Beauty's black and gold boxes, heavy glass bottles, and minimalist labels stood apart from the ornate or whimsical designs of competitors. The message was always clarity, focus, and authority. Even the fonts and spacing on a lipstick tube were subject to Ford's scrutiny. The result was a visual language that extended from the flagship store to the smallest fragrance sample, unmistakable and unified. This coherence set a benchmark. The brand's DNA wasn't just about what was sold, but how it was presented, each element reinforcing the others in a closed system. The codes were so specific, so personal, that they functioned almost as a fingerprint. As the brand moves forward without Ford's direct oversight, these visual markers become both a legacy and a test. Can the codes survive, or do they fade without the hand that drew them? Every Tom Ford launch followed a strict choreography. Nothing appeared by accident, and nothing arrived before its time. In 2005, the brand opened with menswear and accessories, but eyewear was the first product to hit the market, thanks to an early licensing deal with Marcolin. Sunglasses became a calling card, sold in limited batches and often waitlisted before reaching stores. Beauty and fragrance followed, each introduced with the same calculated scarcity: small initial drops, private previews, and closely guarded lists of invitees. The message was always exclusivity, not mass availability. When Tom Ford introduced women's wear in 2010, the approach was almost ritualistic. Instead of a public runway, the debut took place behind closed doors in New York, with only hand-picked celebrities, editors, and longtime muses in attendance. No live streams, no backstage chaos broadcast to the world. Even after runway shows opened to the press in 2013, Ford kept a tight grip on who saw what and when. Lookbooks were distributed under embargo. Photographers and stylists signed non-disclosure agreements. The brand's social media presence lagged behind competitors by design, favoring mystique over constant exposure. This operational discipline extended to every aspect of the business. Product launches were staggered, with beauty, fragrance, and eyewear often preceding ready-to-wear. Retailers received strict instructions on store layouts and product placement, echoing the codes set in the Madison Avenue flagship. Licensing agreements, like the one with Marcolin for eyewear, were negotiated to ensure that even outsourced products met Ford's standards for quality and presentation. The result was a brand environment that ran on secrecy and anticipation. Scarcity was not just a marketing tool, it was a governing principle. Every rollout, from a new lipstick shade to a seasonal collection, was orchestrated to maintain control. For those now tasked with carrying the brand forward, these routines present both a blueprint and a challenge. The rituals that once created demand are now a test of whether the mystique can survive without the man who designed the script. After Tom Ford's departure, the machinery of control shifted from a single auteur to a web of contracts, committees, and corporate boards. The most concrete lever sits with Ermenegildo Zegna, which now holds a 20-year exclusive license for Tom Ford fashion and accessories. This license will renew automatically for another decade if performance targets are met, and it gives Zegna the rights to produce, distribute, and shape the entire ready-to-wear and accessories universe. The terms are not just about production. They outline who holds creative authority, who signs off on campaigns, and how closely the new stewards must adhere to the codes Ford established. Direct creative responsibility now falls to Peter Hawkins, appointed as the brand's new creative director. Hawkins, a longtime Ford collaborator, is tasked with translating the brand's DNA into future collections. But unlike his predecessor, his decisions are subject to oversight from corporate committees within Zegna. Major moves, for example, new category launches, shifts in visual language, or changes in store design, require layers of approval. The same is true on the beauty side, where Estée Lauder's global teams manage product development, marketing, and distribution for fragrance and cosmetics. The decision-making process runs through brand managers, market strategists, and legal teams, each with a stake in maintaining the brand's value. The structure is designed for stability, but it also introduces distance. The codes that once flowed from a single mind are now filtered through legal agreements and quarterly reviews. The risk is not chaos, but drift. A slow dilution may occur as commercial logic replaces the singular vision that once made every detail feel inevitable. If you enjoy deep dives into the business and psychology behind luxury brands, please like and subscribe to the channel. Was Tom Ford smart to walk away at the top, or did selling his name quietly end the very thing that made it powerful? Tell us what you think in the comments. Did Tom Ford lose its soul when its creator left, or is this simply what luxury looks like after the designer exits and the machine keeps running? One contract stands apart from the rest: eyewear. Years before the billion-dollar sale, Tom Ford signed a perpetual agreement with Marcolin, granting the Italian manufacturer exclusive rights to produce and distribute Tom Ford glasses indefinitely. This was not a typical license with an expiration date or a performance review. Marcolin paid $250 million to lock in the deal, ensuring that no matter who owns the brand, Tom Ford eyewear would remain under Marcolin's control. For the new owners, this perpetual contract is both an asset and a limitation. It guarantees a steady stream of royalty income, but it also locks the brand into design and distribution terms set years ago, with little room for radical change. Financial reporting after the sale offered another anchor. In 2023, Tom Ford Fashion and Accessories generated roughly $255 million in revenue under Zegna's stewardship, with menswear accounting for about 70% of that figure. These numbers are more than a snapshot. They are a baseline. The 20-year Zegna license includes automatic renewal for another decade if specific performance targets are met. Revenue, market share, and brand perception are now tracked as key performance indicators, determining not just the future of the contract, but the creative freedom of the brand's new stewards. Together, these agreements act as invisible guardrails. The eyewear deal restricts how much the brand can evolve that category, while the revenue benchmarks set the pace for every major decision. Creativity is now measured against contracts and quarterly reports, with each clause shaping what Tom Ford can become without the man behind the name. If you enjoy deep dives into the business and psychology behind luxury brands, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us make more careful, analytical videos about authorship, power, and the economics of prestige. In the end, was Tom Ford smart to walk away at the top? Or did selling his name quietly end the very thing that made it powerful? Was the brand's soul tied to a single author? Or is this simply what luxury looks like after the designer exits and the machine keeps running? Tell us what you think in the comments. Chanel stands as the rare example of a luxury house that has managed to preserve its identity across generations, even after the founder's death. When Coco Chanel died in 1971, the Wertheimer family, who had been involved as business partners since the 1920s, retained full private control. Rather than selling stakes or inviting outside investors, the family kept Chanel wholly owned and off the public markets, shielding it from the pressures that often force short-term decisions. This structure allowed for long-term thinking, with the family acting as stewards rather than distant shareholders. In 1983, the Wertheimers hired Karl Lagerfeld as creative director, a position he would hold for more than 3 decades. Lagerfeld's tenure became one of the longest and most influential in fashion history. He inherited the codes of Coco, tweed jackets, quilting, pearls, the double C monogram, and reimagined them for each new era. Under his direction, Chanel's visual language stayed consistent, but never static. Campaigns evolved, silhouettes shifted, but the DNA remained unmistakable. The number 5 bottle, the black and white palette, and the signature suit all persisted, anchoring the brand through decades of change. Financial results reflected this stability. Chanel's revenues climbed steadily, reaching over 15 billion euros by 2022, with brand value estimates placing it among the world's most valuable luxury names. Press coverage credited the brand's continuity to the family's willingness to grant creative directors real authority while holding them to the founder's vision. The result was a balance of innovation and tradition, with each generation of leadership building on the last. Chanel's model shows how private, family-led stewardship can protect a brand's soul, allowing it to grow without losing the qualities that made it iconic in the first place. In 2012, Saint Laurent underwent one of the most controversial rebrands in modern luxury. Hedi Slimane, newly appointed as creative director, dropped Yves from the label, renaming it Saint Laurent. The decision sent shockwaves through the industry. Critics accused Slimane of erasing the founder's legacy, and longtime clients voiced their anger in open letters and editorials. The iconic YSL monogram, once a symbol of Parisian glamour, was suddenly sidelined in favor of stark, minimal branding that echoed Slimane's taste for youth culture and rock and roll. Yet the commercial response told a different story. Within 2 years of the rebrand, Saint Laurent's revenues climbed sharply. Kering, the brand's parent company, reported double-digit sales growth, with annual revenue rising from approximately 707 million euros in 2012 to over 1 billion euros by 2015. Stores filled with Slimane's skinny tailoring and leather jackets, drawing in a new generation of customers. The press backlash raged on, but the cash registers kept ringing. Saint Laurent's transformation revealed the double edge of radical reinvention. The brand gained market share and cultural relevance, but at the cost of its founder's identity. Slimane's vision dominated every campaign, every runway, every store window. For some, the brand felt revitalized. For others, it became almost unrecognizable. The Saint Laurent example stands as a middle ground, proof that commercial uplift can come with a strain on heritage, and that a name can survive, even as its original meaning is rewritten. If you enjoy deep dives into the business and psychology behind luxury brands, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. A designer's name on a label once meant more than a trademark. It signaled authorship, intent, and a kind of personal guarantee. In the case of Tom Ford, the persona was never just a marketing tool. It was the product itself. The entire brand was built on the careful staging of Ford's own image, the sharp tailoring, the cinematic lighting, the aura of control. Every campaign, every store, every fragrance bottle became a vessel for his personality. But what happens when that personality is sold as intellectual property? The 2023 deal turned Ford's identity into an asset, packaged and transferred alongside factories, contracts, and stock codes. The result is a strange inversion. The author's presence remains everywhere, yet the author is absent. The brand keeps speaking in his voice, but the words are chosen by someone else. This is not a new dilemma in luxury. Jean-Noël Kapferer, a leading theorist on brand authorship, has argued that once a founder's name becomes a business asset, it risks becoming impersonal, scalable, and hollowed out. The tension is stark. Ford's decision delivered extraordinary wealth, but at the cost of stewardship. The brand's codes, the black and gold, the air of seduction, and the perfectionism have become commodities traded for security and scale. Viewers are left to weigh the trade-off. Is it a triumph of self-authorship to sell your name at its peak? Or does it raise uncomfortable questions about what remains when identity is monetized? The answer may depend on how much value we place on the soul of a brand once its author has walked away. Today, Tom Ford's name moves millions in product without the man behind it. In luxury, The line between legacy and asset grows thinner with every billion-dollar sale. When authorship becomes ownership, what is left is a brand engineered to survive its own creator. Has the soul departed, or is this simply the future of fashion? If you enjoy deep dives into the business and psychology of luxury brands, please like and subscribe. Tell us in the comments, did Tom Ford make the ultimate power move when he walked away at the top, or did he quietly erase what made the brand matter? Did Tom Ford lose its soul when its creator left? Or is this simply what luxury looks like after the designer exits and the machine keeps running?